Right, so my name's Sebastian Nemeth, and I'm at the present CEO of Portyr, and I'm also a student of Aalto Ventures program. This is relevant because Portyr is born and bred in Aalto Ventures program. It's where we started. It gave us all of the opportunities that we needed to grow up, and it's also the reason why I'm blaming them for I have no idea whether I'm going to graduate, why I'm still being a student. Ollie, you asked us to talk a little bit about QUAS as well. Well, through Aalto Ventures program, we're able to meet with the heads of QUAS and the heads of Wave Ventures. QUAS and Wave were an amazing platform for us to be able to get out and give us a lot of credibility and respect that we never would have had a chance to be able to for before. So we're incredibly grateful for Aalto Ventures program and for the entire ecosystem, which has given us all of these opportunities. Now, the other reason why I wanted to show you all of this is because if anybody has any doubts as to my credentials and my qualifications to be able to talk about entrepreneurship, this is them. All right? I have none. There are much more educated, wise, and respectable people speaking after me that you can send all of your questions to. I'm just enjoying my 15 minutes of fame. And for anybody that knows me, they know that I like to rock the boat. So let's get ready. All right, let's do this. My name is Sebastian Nemeth, and I hate entrepreneurship. Let me qualify, I hate the label of entrepreneurship. I hate the expectations that come with being labeled an entrepreneur. There is a stereotype out there of being an entrepreneur, and it is a sickness that is causing a barrier of entry to this entrepreneurship community. Let's cast a little experiment. We'll think back and think about the first time that you walked into Startup Sauna or talked to an entrepreneur about what it's like to be in a startup. And let's try and think back and get that emotional connection of the messages that we received. Because I remember the time I walked into Startup Sauna and I saw a cocky young entrepreneur like myself on stage telling me about how hard he worked and everything. And he was telling me how to be a good entrepreneur. Here was the message. Wake up at 5 a.m. every single day and work all day. Work 7 days a week. Sleep in Design Factory if you have to. Go to the gym every day because your brain needs it. Volunteer at Slush. Make sure you wear an Aalto ES t-shirt. And go to every single party. Be number one on every social media channel because networking is everything. If you don't do all of these things, you will fail. Actually, fuck it. You'll fail anyway. Because 95% of all the startups in the world will fail in the first 2 years, and you're no exception. You will fail. Fail repeatedly. Fail fast. These are the messages we hear. So Aalto Ventures program and Aalto ES and all these wonderful ecosystem establishments, they exist to make entrepreneurship open and accessible to everybody. I'm sensing a slight signaling issue. That's not to criticize. I mean, they're wonderful institutions with a valuable mission. But let's think about this for a little bit. If I spend 2 years and I'm eating noodles and I'm sleeping in the toilets at Design Factory, you know, my friends stop asking me where I am, my relationship falls apart, I'm stressing, I'm panicking, and at the end of that 2 years, I'm a commercial failure, I'm going to be pretty pissed. But let's look back at a different story. If I spent the last 2 years getting to know people, having experiences together that I never would have had before, if the last 2 years were a chance for me to express my independent creative freedom, to chase a dream, to build something valuable that contributes to the lifestyle of myself, my friends, my family, my loved ones, the people around, maybe even the world, and I'm still a commercial failure, do I care? Because we might not be able to climb to the top of this mountain, but if we're on this path walking around, we can stop to look around and we don't care. So don't worry. You don't need to be a great entrepreneur. You don't even need to be a good entrepreneur. And here at AVP, they'll tell you how to build a business. They'll tell you and teach you the skills that you need just to do what you want to do. As Ollie said, you know, we found out that companies don't want to hire people like us. So we have to make our own jobs. So we figured out now that it's about the journey and not the destination. If the destination is success and failure, then our job is to craft a journey where we don't care if we succeed or fail. We don't care if we end up in Tallinn or Stockholm. But how do we do that? Choosing a journey is also the same as choosing our idea for the startup. The idea is what's going to drive the startup. It's going to determine who we work with, what the company's values are, the network of everybody around us. So how do we choose a great idea? Is it this? What do you think the chances are that up on this board right now, there is a great idea and $1 million startup is waiting? Because all of these tools that we learn about innovation, Post-it notes, Sharpies, whiteboards, workshops, qualitative and quantitative research, surveys. And how do we evaluate a great idea? Is it the idea that makes us rich, popular, famous, respected? My idea is that maybe what's on this board is a great answer to a question or a solution to a problem, but it might not be the great idea that you're looking for to give you the kind of life that you want in entrepreneurship. Because a great idea for your life, it's like a recipe with seasonal ingredients that come and go. And when you submit to a lifestyle like that, when you submit to this philosophy, then you find yourself in situations where you don't know how you got there. Those coincidences drive your life, and that's where these great ideas really come from, for your life and your lifestyle. So a great idea is whatever gives you a great story in your life. Now, Aalto Ventures program will teach you the tools you need to gather the ingredients and the network that you need to have a great recipe for your life. So what about this guy? Are we allowed to call him an entrepreneur anymore? Or is he some kind of god? How about this? Next, while this guy is up on stage, let's do another thought experiment. Let's think, what about if, let's just say I'm really great at baking muffins, and I bake a shit ton of muffins that are really great, and everyone's asking me for them, they're loving these muffins, so I start to sell them. I sell them to my friends, sell them to my family, to my colleagues, to my neighbors. Everyone's buying these muffins, and I'm making a ton of money off them. Apart from being a dick, because I'm making money off my friends on muffins, am I an entrepreneur? And what's the difference between me and this guy? Right? Because everybody knows Elon, because he's saving the world. And we know that the world needs to be saved, right? Every day in the news and the media, we hear this bad news of terrorism, refugees, Donald Trump, everything. But the reason why, this is actually a symbol of connectedness and a state of awareness and empathy in the world that we've never seen before. These values are finding their way into the decision-making process of the world like it never has before. So overpopulation, it's looking like it'll be capped at 10 billion by the year 2050. We can deal with that. The wealth gap is lower than ever before, and it's still falling. Education is the highest in human history, and it's getting better. We're getting access to more information and better programs than we ever have before. Animal agriculture is one of the biggest, most destructive forces of the ecology on the planet. But cultured meat is right around the corner. Uma Valeti's Memphis Meats just got funded 17 million by Cargill Meat Industries. So if you don't know, they're the people who go and cut up all these beautiful cows and turn them into the meat that goes into your fridge. Even they're interested in it because they can see the change. Energy crisis, that's what we have this guy for. You see, I have a theory that somewhere along the way, this guy transformed from being our idea of an entrepreneur into a seasoned veteran businessman, and that's when he started to save the world. Entrepreneurs don't need to save the world. Billionaires with a conscience do. So relax. You don't need to save the world. You can bake muffins if you want to. But if you want to save the world, you can do that too. What you do need to save yourselves from are robots. Robots and AI, they're coming, and they're ushering in a world that we won't know what happened. Because automation, you might not actually have... This was going so well. Okay, so with automation, you might not be actually working in the job that you're studying for. You don't know where you're going to turn up. Basic income means you might not even need that job in the first place, and Finland and Canada and multiple places around the world are experimenting with this. Life expectancy. Genetic advances now, we don't even know if we're going to die. So in such a world where we don't need to work, we don't know if we're going to die, what else is there left to do but to just, the value of our own experiences becomes the measure of the quality of our lives. That's all there is left to trade. So in such a world, my message to you is that entrepreneurship is the single greatest, only thing that matters anymore. We have to save ourselves from ourselves. And if you think about entrepreneurship, and this is just my opinion, but in my opinion it means the independent pursuit of meaning and creativity. And this is the single most important skill in any future without drudgery. To entertain ourselves. So let's go through the couple of points that I made in my presentation, and then you'll be free of me. First, don't try to be an entrepreneur. Don't try so hard. No one likes to try hard. A great idea gives you the story you want in your life. Focus your entrepreneurship on that. You don't need to save the world if you don't want to, but you're welcome to. The more the merrier. Entrepreneurship is the single most important thing you can learn about today, and if you want to learn those skills, study at Aalto Ventures program. Entrepreneurship is a way for you to design your life. Design your life, otherwise somebody else will design it for you. Thank you.